Right, we're talking about the European Super League. So this made the papers today, and it's a story that's broken in Der Spiegel, which is a German publication. Let's just first explain to you the sort of story behind this. This is what is going on. This graphic explains everything you need to know. So, it's a proposed breakaway European competition where 16 teams would have the option to leave their domestic league and their football association. Listen to that, leave their domestic league and FA. So the competition could be introduced by 2021, with members also no longer competing in the Champions League or the Europa League. The 11 founding members will be joined by 5 initial guests. Membership guaranteed for 20 years with no relegation. And the breakaway league was first mooted in 2016. Well, Arsenal, Manchester United, Manchester City, Liverpool have all been in the paper as part of this. You all played for those clubs. Chelsea are the 5th English side. Your initial thoughts on this? So this is effectively a private members club. You can't get relegated. You can go in if you decide to set it up.
It's almost like the NBA or NFL it's turned into. But then the NBA and the NFL aren't leaving any teams behind. So that's the big concern for me. As a player, yes, of course you'd love to play in that because it's the elite and you want to play and pit your wits against the best teams and the best players around. But you've got to think about the bigger picture here. I think there's a bigger picture to be thought about. If this breakaway league is then formed, where does that leave all the other teams and all the other leagues? That's the main concern. The big teams will take care of themselves in that league, but I think they've got to take care of the other teams that are going to be left behind if they do choose to break away.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have the Premier League. That goes without saying. If you want to replace the Champions League, if you want to challenge the governing bodies of UEFA, who we've all criticised in the past, and the governing bodies of FIFA, who we've criticised heavily in the past for their financial dealings. I get that. If you want to start, because they're their own bosses, they've got nobody to tell them off, they're just akin to making billions of pounds every year and doing whatever they want with that money. So if the football clubs want to take them on and take over it, fine. But I still think that you need a Premier League, and if you want a European competition owned by the clubs across Europe rather than a governing institution that we have no powers on, so be it. But we'd need to know a lot more than we know already to be able to say yes or no. But I don't like the relegation promotion is all part of our ethos. You can't be languishing off the bottom of the league and don't care whether you win, lose or draw because nothing will matter to you. You need that punishment of not playing well, getting defeated and then getting left out.
The guys have said it pretty well. I mean, for me, it's about power. It's about greed. It's not a competition if you don't have a relegation situation. You can't have an exclusive members club. I don't know. It's not clear. Are we saying it's a midweek Super League? Do they play in their own Premier Leagues through the week? We've pretty well got that now.
They basically go.
Well, then
they walk away from the Premier League, walk away from the FA Cup, walk away from the League Cup, walk away from the Europa League and the Champions League and set up their own thing.
That's not realistic, is it?
That's what's being proposed.
So there's no Liverpool derby again anymore?
Exactly.
It's not even that. There's no Man United against Bournemouth, which was a brilliant game today. And that's what makes the Premier League fantastic.
That will not happen, will it? It'll be...
Well, I hope it doesn't.
Instead of... Why won't it happen?
No, but I'm saying, instead of Manchester United taking the minnows of remaining in the Champions League on, it might be a case of they'll take over the Champions League, might be taken over by these super clubs of Europe. And instead of UEFA taking the chunk of money and then paying everybody, the clubs might take the chunk of money. But there's no way to stop the Premier League, Serie A, and just say, right, you don't have to play each other anymore.
Yeah, but forget all of these leagues, though, are going to come down really hard on these clubs because as soon as one person creates an opportunity to break away and to own football, which is what this is about. This is about football clubs wanting to own their own competition rather than UEFA and FIFA owning the game. And we're not saying UEFA and FIFA are perfect.
It's a money move. Simple as that, because it's going to give you more control, it's going to give them more money, and that money means more power. Simple as that.
But you will not survive if they are as cutthroat and as greedy to say, right, let's get rid of everything. Let's get rid of a 120-year history of Liverpool playing Everton, which they have done, and the history of one person, one club owning this ground and one taking over, just to go, right, just for a few extra pennies, when they're earning fortunes already.
That's the point, isn't it?
On earth.
That's going to go down so badly with people, because they're already making millions, if not billions. These clubs are worth billions.
There's no
I'd be surprised if
in this scenario, there's no chance. The owners will be lynched. There's no chance that can happen. The greed is
we're
just
trying
impossible.
we're trying to spread the game, aren't we? We enjoy the giant killing. We enjoy the FA Cup competition. So for me, it should never be allowed to come in.
No relegation, no real local derbies, no brilliant games like we saw today, Man U against Bournemouth. No chance and no thanks as well.
Yeah,
That's the
exactly.
other thing. No
Correct,
thanks.
correct.
Not interested.